Power outages are a fact of life across much of Africa, with nearly daily blackouts affecting rich and poor countries. Frustrating, to say the least.
And it's something VOA East Africa correspondent Gabe Joselow knows about firsthand, and he's also done reports on the challenges of generating and supplying electricity across the continent. Here's his look at the problem's many effects.
A small business in Nairobi that began as a party supply outfit has expanded to serve restaurants and supermarkets, moving more than a ton of ice a day, while their custom-made ice sculptures decorate State House events. It's an entrepreneurial success story, but Betty Mbite, office manager of the Iceman Company, says the limits of the country's power supply puts the business in jeopardy.
Sometime last year when we had about 3 days without power and we couldn't operate at all. Yes, because the machines need power, the cold room needs power, and no one can go on without any power.
Gabe, you did an interesting story about how these power outages have been affecting businesses. Now, how often is this happening?
I'd say our power goes out pretty much every day. It's not always for a very long period of time, but you can count on it going out usually in the mornings for just blinking out. And you know, this is a problem that a lot of people are facing.
To keep their swans cold and to keep their customers happy, the Iceman needs a 24-hour supply of power. But relying on Kenya's grid is proving costly, says Mbite.
It is a difficult business, especially if the power is high, because everything you make goes to the power. Yes, we pay back to the government for power.
The number one cost for this business is power. No power, no ice. But the problem in Kenya and across much of Africa is that power is often inaccessible, expensive, and inconsistent.
In Kenya, they're working on ways to increase power generation so that there's just more power available for this growing population. At the same time, they have to invest in making the power lines and all of that sort of delivery infrastructure also much stronger to take the new load of power that's being created.
Some 600 million Africans have no access to electricity at all. That's 60% of the population. Africa consumes less power than any other region in the world, but pays nearly the same average tariffs as the United States and about twice as much as East Asia.
Now, what's being done then? You mentioned some of these strategies. What are governments doing to try to fix this?
Well, there's some interesting initiatives out there. Everybody wants to address this problem because without power, you have a lot of lost economic potential. So it's not like there's no goodwill here. One of the interesting initiatives that's being developed was actually announced at the World Economic Forum in Davos last month.
African Development Bank President Donald Kaberuka said energy shortages are holding countries back.
At this moment, every single African country is experiencing energy shortages and power outages. That is costing the continent 2% of the GDP. In fact, an African leader says that we are a continent of miracles. If we are growing at 5% without enough electricity, think of what we could do if we had enough electricity.
This is a group, African Energy Leaders Group, which is forming to unite politicians, business leaders, as well as investors to try to come up with strategies to encourage more investment, to encourage better government policies that will make it easier for investment, with the overall aim of just increasing power and making it reach consumers much easier. One of the things that they have discussed is that one country can't really do it all on their own.
It is not possible for our individual 54 countries to have energy security from their own domestic resources. We have to create viable regional markets for power, and that is possible.
What you're going to see in Africa is a lot of regional effort, so that, for instance, there'll be like a West African power bank where a power generator in Cameroon, for instance, would share its energy capacity with neighboring countries, like we would go to Niger or go to Nigeria. So this is the kind of initiative that I think we will be seeing more in coming years, and it'll be really pan-African in that sense.
All right, thanks to Gabe, our East Africa correspondent based in Nairobi.